Hey there, Deluxe fans! Hope you're feeling particularly magical today. In today's video, we are going to be discussing 28 secrets and Easter eggs that were very cleverly hidden throughout the movie. Be sure to let us know if you noticed these when watching the movie in the comments below. Our first secret actually has to do with the three little kids who we see a few times throughout the movie, the three that Mirabel sings to in the beginning. Did you know that they were all named after people who played a major part in creating Encanto? The director of the film, Jared Bush, explained on Twitter that Alejandra, Cecilia, and Juancho were named after three key members of the team that brought Disney's Encanto to the big screen. Juancho was named after one of the artists who worked on Mirabel's dress, named Jose Huicho Velázquez. Cecilia was named after the daughter of Charisse Castro Smith, one of the film's co-directors, and Alejandra was named after the woman who helped the movie's creators portray historical Colombia accurately, Alejandra Espinosa. Meanwhile, while those three were listening to Mirabel singing about her magical family, Dolores was keeping a secret to herself. Seeing how she's able to hear the chorus from miles away, it shouldn't surprise you to find out that she could hear Bruno in the walls the entire time he was hiding. Before we even meet Bruno, Dolores lets Mirabel know that the rats in the walls are concerned about the state of the magic. She, of course, is referring to the fact that she can hear Bruno and his rats within the walls, trying to fix the foundation and talking to his rat companions. And actually, it's during Dolores' chorus in the popular song We Don't Talk About Bruno that we can see Bruno for the first time. If you look closely as she is singing about Bruno's muttering and mumbling, you can see Bruno's silhouette lurking around in the background. He can be spotted on the second floor balcony behind Dolores and Mirabel. Bruno is just full of secrets, especially when you take a closer look at the room he made for himself within the walls of Casa Madrigal. The walls seem to be lined with trinkets and items that he either cares for or reminds him of the past. And as you know, Disney loves to include nods to other movies or projects that it played a part in. Well, if you look closely on Bruno's shelf, you will notice a boot that has a small plant sprouting out of it. This is the same method of plotting for the plant that Wall-E kept alive in the 2008 movie. Maybe if they knew of Bruno's love for plants and animals, the people in the town might have been nicer to him. But as you know, they blamed him for everything. One woman even blamed him for killing her fish, and ironically enough, her name matches her story. Now, even though her name isn't mentioned in the movie, Jared Bush revealed that her name was Señora Pez Muerto, and if you don't know what that translates to in English, we'll give you a hand. Her name, in English, actually means Mrs. Deadfish. Another nod that Disney made to one of its own projects was in Luisa's song, Surface Pressure. During her song, she mentions a beast from Greek mythology known as the Cerberus, a three-headed dog tasked by Hades to guard the gates of the underworld. Her line specifically mentions the Greek myth of Hercules and his battle with Cerberus. And if you have ever watched the classic animated Disney movie Hercules, you will recall the scene where he actually tamed Cerberus when he encountered him. Speaking of songs that have a special nod to popular Disney movies, did you notice the nod to Frozen that Bruno gave when he was singing his apology to Peppa? More specifically, he sings to her about ruining her wedding unintentionally when all he really wanted was for her to let it go. He even throws rice or something into the air that gives the appearance of snow falling. That was a clear wink at one of the most popular Disney songs of all time from the hit film Frozen, Let It Go. Now, when he wasn't busy coming up with apologies for his family that recreated Disney classics, Bruno had to keep himself entertained in some way. And as we saw, his tiny companions that kept him company in the walls also managed to keep him busy with their amazing looking performance art. Did you happen to notice the soccer game that they showed the rats playing? Well, that was actually a recreation of Colombia's 1990 FIFA World Cup match, which they played against West Germany. The game is very memorable as it ended with a goal which was scored by Freddy Rincon that caused the World Cup match to end in a draw. Next up, let's talk about Abuela Alma and her verse in the movie's opening number, The Family Madrigal. Toward the middle of the song, Abuela gets a short verse where she mentions each new generation of her family keeping the miracle going. Well, if you listen closely to the melody that she is singing her verse in, it's actually the same melody that was used in Dos Oruguitas, the song that is used to tell the story of her and her husband, Pedro, and how they started their family. Speaking of Dos Oruguitas, did you know that the singer Sebastian Yatra has a strange connection to Pedro? According to the director of Encanto, when he crossed the river and sacrificed himself, Abuelo Pedro was meant to be the same age that Sebastian was when he recorded the song, which, as we said, tells the story of Pedro. It's the small details in the movie that makes Encanto such an amazing film to watch. Some of our favorite things to check out were each of the Madrigal family members' outfits. Did you notice that each of their clothes have some sort of symbol or embroidery that was a nod to the gift that each of the members had? Mirabel's is especially interesting though, since she was the only member who didn't seem to get a gift. Because of this, her dress actually incorporates symbols relating to the other members of the family. When you look closely, you can see animals on her dress for her cousin Antonio, flowers that represent her sister Isabella, and a ton more. There's something for every Madrigal aside from herself. As for the butterfly pattern that you can see on Mirabel's blouse, this is actually a nod to the Madrigal family in general. You most likely noticed this, but butterflies and butterfly patterns can be seen in almost every scene of Encanto, including along the walls of the casita. There's even a butterfly imprinted onto the candle that seems to give the family their gifts. In most cultures, the butterfly symbolizes growth and transformation, which is exactly what Mirabel helps her family to do. Another interesting development in Mirabel's outfit can be noticed when you take a look at the dress she was wearing during her ceremony when she was supposed to receive her gift as a child, and then when you look at Mirabel when she was older. She must have liked the style of the dress that she wore for the ceremony because you can see the same style present on her blouse throughout the rest of the whole film. When it comes to Mirabel, it seems like everything she is wearing is a symbol in some way or another, and I guess that can be said about every member of the Madrigal family. This is why it's particularly interesting that both Mirabel and Bruno, the two outcasts of the family, seem to be the only members of the family who incorporate green into their outfits. While Mirabel might only have green in her glasses, Bruno has green all throughout his outfit, not to mention his eyes also turn green when he has a vision, thus making it seem as though the color green is meant to symbolize someone as a black sheep to the family. Mirabel's father is much like his daughter in the sense that Augustine cares about his family more than anything in the world. So much so that he even wears accessories and clothes that represent all three of his wonderful daughters. If you look closely, you will see that he's wearing two different socks, one of which has weight symbols on it for Luisa, and the other appears to be embroidered like Mirabel's clothes. As for Isabella, she is represented front and center in the form of a flower on his vest. Now, when it comes to what Abuela Alma is wearing, her clothes have less to do with her and her family, and more to do with what protects them and their village from outsiders. Along the bottom of her dress, you can see a mountain design imprinted on it in what would appear to symbolize the mountains that block off their town and casita from the rest of the world. Along with the mountain on her dress, you can also spot another accessory that Alma keeps on her person at all times. Every time you see Alma, if you look toward her waist, you will notice what appears to be a chatelaine that's in the shape of a butterfly, the thematic symbol throughout the film. The chatelaine appears to be carrying a watch and a key that is likely the key to Casa Madrigal. Luisa is another member of the Madrigal family who wears their life symbolized on their clothing. Luisa is a kind-hearted Madrigal who sadly is seen to be more of a tool to be used than a person to be loved. If you look toward the bottom trim of her dress, you will notice a pattern of weight symbols that are meant to represent her gift, which, as we know, is her incredible strength. Luisa likely got her kind-heartedness from her mother Julieta, who, like the rest of her children, was someone who cared about others above all else. She was the town healer, since she was blessed with the ability to heal people with her meals and her cooking. So it makes sense that her outfit would contain symbols such as a motar and a pestle, which are used to mash and grind ingredients for both cooking and medicinal purposes, the two things that go hand in hand with her abilities. Dolores, on the other hand, is less of a healer and more of a hearer. Her gift allows her to hear things from up to miles away, whether it be a song about her family or the number of children the town hunk allegedly wants. Her gift was depicted on her clothes by the sound wave patterns that you can spot on the hem of her dress. Isabella is one of the more noticeable members of the Madrigal family when it comes to wearing her gift on her sleeve. And I mean, she literally wears it on her sleeve and everywhere else on her dress. With her ability to create flowers and plants at will, it's no surprise that she covered her dress in a nice floral arrangement that she could change and move around at will. When it comes to Pepa, however, she doesn't appear to be wearing her symbol on her dress, and instead, hers are a part of her accessories. If you take a look at her earrings, you will notice that Pepa is wearing sun earrings to represent her ability to change the weather around her depending on the mood that she is in at the time. Camilo, as we know, has the ability to shapeshift into anyone that he has seen or can think of, which makes him the chameleon of the Madrigal family. This is most likely why his gift was depicted by a chameleon pattern that can be seen and included on his poncho. Much like Camilo, Bruno's gift is represented on his poncho, or I guess in this case, you would call it a cloak. Either way, with his gift being the ability to see visions of the future, if you look closely, you will find hourglasses imprinted onto the pattern of his poncho. Oddly enough, Antonio would appear to be the only member of his family who isn't seen in the film wearing clothes that match or represent the gift he was given, which in his case was the ability to talk and confer with animals. Now, this doesn't mean you can't find him in the outfit, however. If you take a look at one of the movie posters featuring Antonio, you can see he is wearing a vest with an animal pattern on it. The vest just never made it into the movie. Now, with Encanto, we have talked quite a bit about butterflies and the fact they are meant to represent growth and transformation, but when it comes to the yellow butterfly in particular, that is said to symbolize good fortune, happiness, and imagination. This makes a lot of sense when you consider the fact when we saw it in the film was when things, for the most part, began to turn around for the family. Mirabel and Bruno follow the yellow butterfly to the good portion of his vision. Bruno also technically made his first appearance in general among the yellow butterflies, and actually, it was also the first Easter egg for Encanto. If you take a look at the poster that was released to announce the movie, in the background, you can actually see Bruno lurking and hiding in the corner with one of his rat companions. The yellow butterflies that we saw throughout Encanto were also present in a book titled 100 Years of Solitude, which was written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, a Colombian novelist. And the plot of his book is eerily similar to Encanto. It's about a multi-generational family that lives in a town funded and protected by their patriarch. And we're done! Let us know which secrets you already knew and which ones you didn't in the comments below. As for now, that's all Disney fans. Let us know what video you'd like to see next in the comments, and like and subscribe for more magically packed videos.